Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
You're just in time for another episode of New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez. My friends call me BP, or when they need a ride to the airport. We can't wait to get to your phone calls. In fact, Carla, you'll be up first when we come back from our opening segment here. We've got JJ West and Becky Brown here for the second time this week. Actually, it's JJ's third time this week. And we just want to thank you all for watching and listening and sharing about us with your loved ones, for supporting us both prayerfully and financially. JJ is a licensed marriage and family therapist, while Becky is a licensed professional clinical counselor and the president of New Life Ministries. And JJ, what words of wisdom do you want to start us off with today?
Well, I was just thinking your friends call you BP and my friends call me JJ.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what do Becky's friends call her? What initials do they use?
Yes.
BB. There we go. All right. BB, BP, and JJ. So,
Yes.
so it is, what's on my mind today is connections. So when I have to join the radio team from my office, I have to bring my entire connection kit. I have to have my boom mic and my headphones. I've got to have my laptop. I've got to have my tablet. I've got to have all these things in order to connect to the live stream of the radio show. And then there's things I don't have control over that possibly get in the way of good connection. I don't have control over the lighting. I don't have control over whether Wi-Fi will work properly. I don't have control over the sound as well as I would like to have control over it, right? There's things that get in the way. And this is the same in our relationships. There are things that we can't control. There are circumstances and situations that come at us from out of the blue that we didn't expect and we didn't know and we didn't prepare for, and they kind of throw us for a loop. But there's also stuff that we are in control of. And there's things that we need to bring to the table, much like I have to bring my bag full of all my connecting equipment in order to participate in this endeavor. In your relationships, there are things that you need to bring to the table, things in your bag relationally that you need to bring to the table in order to have the possibility of connecting. Now, it's possible, like I said, some things could get in the way of that connection. But as much as it is up to you, Scripture says, live at peace with all people. Mm-hmm. And so what is it that you need to bring to the table? What's the microphone and the headset and the laptop? What are the things that you need to bring? So I would say some of those things are being present, that I am locked in and I'm paying attention to what the other person is saying, that I bring honesty, that I'm sharing truth. I'm not covering things up, that I'm bringing love and compassion. Am I choosing to think about things from the other person's perspective, or am I demanding that they only see things from my perspective? These are some of the things that we bring to the table relationally so that we can connect. And those are the things that we're in control of. And we have to work on those things. We have to let go of the stuff that we don't have control of. Much like I have to let go of the stuff that I can't control in terms of having a good connection with the radio team.
Mm-hmm. Those are some good words, JJ, and it is so true. We just had Christmas, 2 weeks ago, and everybody loved it when we came to their home and brought presents, the shiny boxes with the ribbon and all that. But no, bring your presents. P-R-E... Hang on here. P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E, right? I think. I was spelling that out in my head, so I think I got it right. But yeah, bring your presence. Be there. Be present with the people that you love, with your family, your kids, your spouse, because it is oh so important. And leave that other baggage somewhere else. You don't need to bring that with you. And we can help you today to do that and a whole lot more. And we would love to talk with you. We've got Carla coming up and Dawn, and we want to speak to as many people as we can this hour of New Life Live. If you've just joined us, I'm Brian Perez here with Becky Brown and JJ West. It's BP, JJ, and BB coming up today on NLL.
Hello, it's Becky Brown, and I just want to share with you about our upcoming webinar, Break Free from Depression, Tools to Reclaim Your Life. If you've been overwhelmed, exhausted, feeling hopeless, or disconnected, this live event will give you the tools and encouragement that you need to move forward. We're going to hear from Dr. 𝙇𝙤𝙑𝙀 Harris, who is a trusted counselor that you hear on New Life Live all the time. We're going to help guide you through practical strategies and biblical truth to help you find real hope in your journey. Jackie will present for about an hour, and then we'll have a 30-minute question and answer following the presentation.
The Break Free from Depression webinar is Thursday evening, January 15th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com. Get tools to reclaim your life and break free from the patterns that keep you stuck. 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Your kind-hearted generosity opens the door to biblical truth, compassionate guidance, and practical support for those facing broken relationships, emotional pain, and spiritual confusion. When you make a gift of any size to New Life Live, or to New Life Ministries, I should say, you're joining in what God is doing through this ministry. You give online at newlife.com, or you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can text NLM to 28950. Huh, Becky Brown?
Yes, I just told Brian at the break earlier that so many people want to save the animals, and I want to save the animals too, but I want to save the humans. And New Life has been helping people for close to 40 years, and we help you with your relationships, with your mental health challenges. We get you connected to resources all over the place. And I just saw one of those commercials that are heartbreaking. Our hearts break when we see those animals struggling. But my heart breaks when I hear the callers who are struggling in relationships, and we hear their voice break because of the sadness of just trying everything and can't find the resources. We want to continue to help people for years to come. You can be part of that. And I want to invite you and say thank you in advance for being part of what God is doing through New Life.
That's right. You can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to make a donation, or text NLM, as in New Life Ministries, to 28950, or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And let's go to the phones now. Here is Carla, who listens to us on KKLA in Los Angeles. Welcome to New Life Live, Carla.
Thank you.
How can we help you today?
So my question is really trying to see how I can help my husband and my son. Right now there's a lot of friction at home, and it has to do a lot with my husband feeling that my son is not in control of his spendings. And even though my son is 20-year-old, he still feels like he needs to come alongside and really help him, because he's also feeling like he's not handling it well, and so he needs to take over if possible, if he continues in this trend of spending, which of course I don't agree, because I think that even though we do want to kind of like look out for our children and take care of them, that they have to finally make a decision. He is an adult, and his goal and only reason why he's still at home is because the condition was that he would stay and save money and then move out when he's 30.
Okay.
And he's 20 right now?
Yeah.
He is 28.
Oh, 28. I'm sorry. Okay.
So, Carla, what have you and your husband said? Like, this is a conversation between the two of you, and then bring your son in. But it sounds like your husband is aligning with your son. Am I right?
Right. So he just comes and makes a comment, be like, no, this is way too much. You need to talk to him. And I said, okay, I will. And I have. And he says, Mom, I'm saving money. I'm just going to put it on another account because, Dad keeps trying to go into my account and see what I'm doing with my money. And so that's what I'm doing.
All right. Well,
But
here's
then my husband.
But here's the first
Right.
problem, Carla. We're talking about a 28-year-old man. This isn't a child. And even if he's living with you and you guys have an arrangement, there comes a time where we have to respect each other as adults. And the conflict that you're having is because In one way, you're wanting to help him, but you aren't parenting anymore. This isn't a parenting thing. This is more of you are probably more like a landlord and a mentor or somebody along that line. And what your son does with his money, if you guys have is he paying you room and board or anything like that?
Yes, he just upped him to give us more money. So my son agreed.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
You're saying your husband was the one that wanted the increase in the room and board?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you guys on the same page, you and your husband?
Well, I agreed because I knew that he was so upset already, and I agreed that he should have been paying more, but that became a long story. He got a car, and then he made payments, and my husband decided not to charge him anymore, but which I told him, I thought that was a mistake on your part. You should have always left him paying some kind of money. Mm-hmm. So now that he saw that he was spending, he decided, okay, well, now I'm going to charge him this X amount, which was higher than the original.
Mm.
Okay.
Because he thinks that he's spending it on frivolous things or something?
Correct. He suspected that it could have been anything from drugs, women, massage parlor.
Right. And Carla, here's the thing, Carla, all of that can be true. But just like I said before, if you're the landlord and he's paying his rent, what he does outside of that is really not for you to say unless you say ahead of time, this is what we want. Like, we don't want you out after 11. I mean, all the things that you can say if you're making an agreement. But what's happening is the confusion, and you and your husband are changing your minds, and you're acting independently of each other, and it's confusing. But what I want for you to think about is there's not a magic thing that's going to happen when he's 30 that he's going to automatically be something different than what he is right now. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But what you can do is, if you and your husband can get in alignment, not in reactivity towards whatever he's spending or whatever he buys or whatever you think he might be doing, but this is how much money, and if you raise it to the amount where you don't really care what he's spending his other money on, but he's paying the money each month to you, he's probably going to go get his own place. I mean, it's just, he's going to make that decision because he doesn't want your input. And that's, you want to protect the relationship, and you're not doing that by reacting to everything. And he's 28. You got to remember that. JJ?
Right.
Yeah, agree wholeheartedly, right? There's a point where we have to transition out of active parenting into more of that older peer mentoring relationship that we have with our adult children, because they have to make decisions and then live with the consequences of those decisions. And so, he may have to live with the consequence. If he is overspending in some areas, he has to live with the consequence that it's going to take me longer to afford a place on my own because I'm not saving as much. But that's a decision that an adult makes and then lives with those decisions. It's not a decision that mommy and daddy come in and rescue me from, right? I have to learn from those mistakes by living with the consequence of a bad choice, so I make a better choice in the future. So I agree with Becky. You and your husband need to be on the same page, set out very clear parameters with your son so he knows what to expect, and then not change it, right? There's got to be some consistency here in terms of what we're saying to him. Here are the expectations. My guess would be, based on how he's reacting to dad, going into his bank account and checking on how he's spending, my guess is he's looking forward to being out on his own. He's looking forward to taking that next step. And so it's not like you're having to convince him to leave. He wants to leave. He wants to be out on his own. And so maybe just having a conversation with him around what does he see as the timetable? Because like Becky said, it's not going to magically just appear at 30. There's going to be steps that have to be taken to get to that financially free place to be able to make that move.
Right.
Yeah, and JJ,
I do have to say,
Carla,
I'm sorry.
Carla, JJ just touched on something, though, that is very important. As you and your husband discuss this, You want to create a reality that is achievable outside of your home. And so many parents make
Correct.
this mistake. We're only going to charge you $100 to stay here. But hey, guess what? When you get out of this, it's going to cost you 3 times, 4 times well, probably 10 times as
Right.
much to rent a
Right.
place, to
Especially
feed
in LA.
yourself, to put
Yeah.
gas in your car, all of those things. So you want to have a reality. And I know we have suggested this before. You can collect that money, and if you want to gift it back at some point in the future, you could, and
Yeah.
get them started out on wherever the next chapter is. But we want to create reality for them, because that's creating muscle, it's creating strength, it's creating fortitude, that they can go out into their life making good choices, launching them
That's right.
strong.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
Muscle only
Yeah.
grows through resistance. Muscle cannot grow any other way. It has to face resistance. And so for our children to grow into adulthood, to flex those muscles, they have to meet some resistance, some pushback. And that's life, right? Things cost more than they should. And and life is hard, and jobs are hard, and relationships are hard. And I learn to step into those roles as I face that resistance.
Carla, Doing Life with Your Adult Children would be a great book for you to
Yes.
get from the newlife.com store. Thanks for calling in today to the program. It was great talking to you. Now we're going to go to Dawn in Evansville, Indiana, who's listening to us on Pure Radio. Hey there, Dawn. Thanks for calling in today.
Hi. I hope you guys are doing well.
We are.
I am calling because I'm having some real issues, and it's causing a lot of anxiety and depression and stuff. My husband is 70, and so nevertheless, he's retired, and he will be on his phone playing games and stuff, or watching movies or videos on TV from like 9 a.m. until like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm trying to convince him that he is depressed, because he has not even done any adulting like tasks, like take out the trash or any of that kind of stuff, for over like 2 months. And he gets mad if I ask him to do anything, and he's like, well, why can't you do it? Kind of thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, So obviously we don't have kids or anything. How to have that difficult conversation with him, because I have a lot of chronic health issues. And I do stuff even in pain, and that kind of thing. And I'm not asking for sympathy. But can you give me some advice?
When did this start, Dawn?
He's always had that addictive personality for video games and TV. But it's just gotten worse, I would say, over the last like 3-4 months.
Becky, what would you say?
Is that the time that he was retired?
No.
When did he retire?
He retired like 5 years, 6 years ago.
Okay. So up until 4 or 5 months ago, he was still active. Even though he was retired, he was still actively participating in the home, taking care of stuff, participating in life. It was only in these last 3 or 4 months that he's seemingly checked out.
I would say it's been longer than that as far as being checked out. And even before, if I asked him to take out the trash, he would, or ask him to do things. But now with him, he'll roll his eyes and get mad and that kind of stuff. So, it's been longer, but he has a very melancholy, phlegmatic type of a personality. And he doesn't like conflict or anything. So it's really hard to bring up things like this without him, throwing it back at me or whatever.
How long have you been married, Dawn?
For 12 years.
Okay. And you all don't have children?
No.
Is this your first marriage for both of you?
No. This is second.
Okay. And no children from previous marriages?
They're all gone out of the home.
Well, I figured that, but I'm thinking of what are your connections? You're right, Dawn. It's funny because we read your question right before you got on the air, and I said, he's depressed. So you already know that.
Mhm.
And you're describing somebody who it's also a diagnosis called dysthymia, where it's just this low level, low grade depression that lasts for a long, long time. And it can be impacted by, for a 70-year-old man, it could be hormonal changes. It could be health changes.
That's
Is
what
he
I
overweight?
wondered.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
of those things. But here's the problem, Dawn. You know that you're not going to fix him.
Mm-mm.
So there has to be a shift in the relationship so that you're not carrying the burden. But also, if he does have a screen addiction, and he very well could, what is the way forward for you to connect, whether it's with your children, extended friends, and we can talk more about this after the break. But I it's a big weight to watch your spouse just languish in their life. And it can be whether it's the screen addiction or whether depression is set in because life has just lost its luster and he hasn't connected with people. But I think we can give you some pointers on the other side of the break.
You think we can? I know we can.
I know it.
That's right. Dawn, stay on the phone. Charlie, we want to talk to you as well, and everyone else who calls in to New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez with JJ West and Becky Brown, and we're going to continue our conversation with Dawn. And thank you so much for watching and listening today to New Life Live.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is February 13th to the 15th in Orange County, California. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the code NLL for a discount. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And back to Dawn. You still with us, Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
great.
am.
Thank you so much for holding through the break. So what would you guys offer to Dawn? Becky?
Well, Dawn, it may seem weird because it's not about your husband. I want you to get the help that you need to feel good. So the pain that you're carrying, the chronic pain, and just the way that you feel supported will, believe it or not, it will help you in how you encourage your husband or interact with your husband. But, he's stuck but it doesn't mean he's going to be stuck forever. But I know that you have to have the support that you need. So it may look like once a month you have the kids on both sides, whoever's kids, they live wherever, come on over, bring something, we'll play games, we'll engage with each other. And if you're not part of a church, maybe you start going to church and inviting him to go with you. Just these little disruptions in the routine. He's afraid to even think about what his life is like right now. And that's where those addictions to screens come into play. And just like what Dr. Alice Benton writes in her book, it's about understanding and loving your child in a screen saturated world. But I would recommend that to anybody who's alive, because even just understanding the research that she's found about the power of screens can give you some insight on what is happening to your husband's brain.
Yeah. JJ?
What's the name of the book?
Go ahead. Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen Saturated World.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great resource. And then I would just add to this, Dawn, it's going to be important to not come into the conversations with your husband with, both guns blazing. I think about there was a sitcom back in the early 90s where one of the main characters is a group of friends, and so one of the main characters he goes to one guy and he's like working on making potpourri with his roommate, and then he goes to the other guy friend and he's putting on makeup, and he's like, "Where are all the men?" and I feel like there's a sense in which you could kind of come in, and it's interesting because a lot of the calls that we've had today have to do with this lack of men standing up, stepping into what God's called them to be. But I don't want you to attack your husband, with just a barrage of complaints. Here's how you're disappointing me. You're not helping enough around the house, and you're spending too much time on a screen, and you're not doing this and you're doing that. But instead, to sit down with him, kneecap to kneecap, eyeball to eyeball, and to say, "Honey, I need you to know I love you, and I want good for you, and I want good for us, and I'm worried about you. I'm worried about how your life seems to be getting smaller since your retirement, and that it feels like I'm losing more and more of you, and I don't like that. I want us to have a rich life. I want you to have a rich life on your own, but I also want us as a couple to have a rich life together. And I want us to work on what that looks like. I don't want it to be me just coming to you with a list of complaints. I want us to work on how do we make our life better and more in line with when Jesus said, "I've come to give you life and to have it more abundantly." Like, do you feel like we are living an abundant life right now? And sometimes when we approach from that perspective, it opens the door to conversation rather than coming in with a list of complaints that say, "Here's how I want you to change."
And not just complaints, but I would say even, you know what? I'm not going to take out the trash anymore. You're going to take out the trash, because that would
did that.
Did you? Okay. And I guess it didn't work. That's why you called us today, right?
No.
Yeah, but that's what JJ's saying though, Dawn. Don't go in there with the task, right? It's connection first, and that's really going to be powerful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know a lot of women struggle with not having a partnership for the house. And that can be difficult, especially if you've got kids and everything else. You're supposed to be a team.
Well, and
it's historical, right? Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, that's what I was going to say, JJ. Here's the thing, Dawn. If I sat with you, Dawn, I would be asking, how did you get together? What was the thing that connected you in those early days? This isn't a first marriage where you were like 15 and, starry-eyed. This was an adult decision. There were things that attracted you to each other that have disappeared in some way. And a lot of times, and we talk about this in intimacy and marriage, don't we, JJ? We don't realize how our marriages impact us and can impact us in a positive way, that healing occurs in relationship. And so what JJ is suggesting to you, Dawn, it's not going to be you just figuring this out on your own, This is where, you have good connections with people who can give you insight. I would actually encourage you maybe to join one of our courses, either Healing is a Choice or Take Your Life Back, because I think it can give you some insight into what do you need in order to connect with him.
Yeah. Dawn, those courses begin at the end of this month. You can find out more about them at newlife.com, or you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. There's 3 courses altogether that we're offering this time for 12 weeks, once a week, an hour a week. Healing is a Choice, Take Your Life Back, and Lose It for Life. That's the name of the other one. You can find out details and information and register at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But these would definitely be beneficial to you. This is New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez here with Becky Brown and JJ West, and we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back to the phones. We've got Charlie and Carter standing by, so don't hang up. We'll get to you in just a moment here on New Life Live. God bless you guys. Thanks so much for watching and listening today.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Orange County, California, January 23rd through the 25th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found life recovery. And one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live,
where we've got Becky Brown and JJ West on the show today. And JJ will be visiting Southern California next week for the Every Man's Battle Intensive. And then he's coming back next month as co-leader of the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. And I take it back, it's not next week, it's the week after that he's coming in for Every Man's Battle. And I think JJ comes out to Southern California because he just can't get enough of those in and out double doubles. That's why he keeps coming out here. Now, recent studies suggest that In-N-Out really is the best place to get a burger. No, wait, I'm looking at the wrong statistics. This one here. Recent studies suggest that approximately 20 to 25% of Christian marriages end in divorce. People get married, especially Christians, thinking they would never be part of that statistic. But sadly, too many are. That's why getting help for your marriage, even a marriage you think is pretty good, is vital. Right, JJ?
It's vital. That's the perfect word. It's vital. Because if we don't tend to our marriage, it is going to fall apart. Marriages are a living thing. They have to be tended to like a garden. And if you leave your garden alone, you just don't, you're not trying to destroy it. You're not stomping on the plants. You just ignore it for a while. Guess what happens? It gets overgrown with weeds, and suddenly it's not a garden anymore. It's a mess. And that's what happens in our marriages. So yeah, we need to tend to them. And coming to the Intimacy and Marriage Intensive is a perfect way to tend to your relationship, whether you're married, engaged, about to be engaged. It's a great place for you to work on your relationship.
Yeah, and Dawn, if you're still listening, this would be great for you and your husband. When you and your spouse come to intimacy and marriage, you'll learn to deepen your spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy. It's a weekend packed with 7 teaching sessions, 5 small process group sessions, facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor, 1 30-minute private session with your group facilitator. You can get all the details at newlife.com and register now to receive a discount. That's right, the early bird gets the workshop discounted rate. So take advantage of that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. Here is Charlie in Oklahoma City listening on Sirius XM channel 131. Hey there, Charlie. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for calling in today. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I was talking to the lady before about, so I seem to have had like an issue in my life, kind of, and it's kind of like, it's got to do with boundaries and kind of fear of rejection. So it's kind of like, there's times in my life I found it hard to establish or to keep boundaries with, let's say, women, basically. And, a lot of times I think I'm just being nice when really I'm kind of, not establishing or not maintaining boundaries the way I need to, especially if I've been in relationships and stuff like that. And, I just think I'm being nice, and they think I'm kind of, I seem to kind of have been, it seems to have been said that I've led people on, or I've led people to believe that I am more interested in them than what I've led women to believe I'm more interested in them than what I am. And I'm just kind of tossing that out there, seeing if y'all have ever heard of anything to do with that. And I think a lot of my life it has involved it's kind of revolved around fear of rejection a lot that I've had to deal with. I've been trying to deal with more so, because I think that's hindered me a lot and it put me in a lot of bad situations. So kind of just tossing that out there.
Okay, Charlie, did you say you're married? How long have you been married?
I'm not married.
Oh, you're not married. I'm sorry. Recently divorced. Okay.
Recently divorced.
Got it.
Is that the reason, Charlie, was that the reason for the divorce? That your ex-wife thought you were a little bit too friendly? Didn't have boundaries?
She did at times, yes. That did come up during the marriage, and I will say that did come up at times, and I don't think that. I mean, I think that was that could have been a contributing factor slightly. Later, what happened was she had attained. We helped her to attain a higher degree, and she made crazy money, and I think it went to her head, to be honest, because then she just did away with me, and we were working apart. We weren't together. I was working somewhere else, and so was she all the time, and it kind of, she went the other way, basically. She, found men, quite a few of them, and just had relationships with them, and didn't tell me. I had to find out on my own, and she still didn't want to divorce me. It's almost like she wanted an open marriage, basically.
That's
and I said,
well, and Charlie, that's what JJ was just talking about, that the marriage doesn't get tended to. You both were focused on the work that you had in front of you. I just will say about your question as far as, not having boundaries or maybe being too friendly. I think there's some confusion about, and I don't know, how long have you been divorced?
Probably about almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Okay. And how long were you married?
About 8 years.
Okay. And so what's happening now, Charlie, is you're finding out who you really are, and you don't really know what you want in a relationship. And so it could be that when you get close to somebody, then you back off because of the hurt that you just experienced. But if this was happening even within the marriage, you're looking for connection. You just aren't sure how to do that. That's my 2 cents. But JJ, what would you offer to Charlie?
Yeah. So, Charlie, first of all, I'm so sorry that your marriage ended the way that it did. I mean, it's incredibly painful to experience that level of betrayal. And of course, it does impact the way we approach future relationships. We can become really gun shy. And especially if we were already dealing with maybe a lifelong pattern of fearing rejection, now that's just amplified by the experience of being betrayed in marriage and having that marriage end. I do think it's important that we're asking feedback from others because all of us have blind spots. None of us are able to see ourselves completely clearly on our own. It's very much like you can go into a store and buy an outfit and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, but you're only looking at the front of you. You can't see the sides and the back. Even if you got those mirrors that have a couple more panels, it gives you a little bit better perspective, but it doesn't give you a 360-degree perspective on yourself. And sometimes you need other people to give you information about what's going on that you can't see. So if you've still got a tag on the back of your pants, you want someone to point that out before you walk out the door and walk around all day with a big tag on the back of your pants, right? And so it's important that you're asking people in your life, good friends, people who know you well, hey, I've been getting this feedback from women that I come across as overly friendly and that my intentions may be more romantic than I'm intending them to be. Do you see that happening in my life? Or can you pay attention to that with me to help me see if in fact this is happening? Because I'm not aware that I'm doing this. I don't want to lead people on. And so I want to behave in a way that communicates clearly to others what my intention is to them, right? Get that feedback from others. That's part of the way that God gives us wisdom. He gives us wisdom through his word. He gives us wisdom through prayer, but he gives us wisdom through the counsel of others. That's what scripture says, that there's great wisdom in the counsel of many. So I would encourage you. It's hard for us on, having never met you and on the radio to discern whether or not that's true of you, but the important people in your life, your friends, your people in your small group, your pastor, people who know you well, they would be a really good resource to go to and say, hey, do you see things in my life that I'm maybe leading people on in ways that I don't intend to?
Charlie, you also mentioned the fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
I did, yes. I guess I've kind of, in kind of a, I think a lot of us, most people try to be like, what's wrong with me? Why am I, and you try to kind of figure yourself out, but most of us aren't good at it, I would say, and that's why there's, a great show like y'all's and therapists and everything. I mean, counselors, sometimes you just need to talk it out. And like JJ was saying, get an outside perspective, which is, that's amazing. I think, that's an amazing perspective, and that's great. And I think that's the biggest help I could probably get. And that was kind of my connection I drew within myself, is that because I connected that, but I'm kind of not, tell me about what you're, but yeah, I have had a fear of rejection a lot, and it's led me down a lot of crazy roads, so to speak,
Yeah.
Well, I want to take a risk here, Charlie. Do you have any relationship with pornography at all, or has that been part of your past?
No.
Okay.
I've banned that from my life. I don't do that. Never have. Never got into it. I just kind of, I just avoided it.
That's great. Well, I just wanted to check because sometimes that can keep us from real relationships, right, JJ?
Absolutely. Yes. It's the fantasy instead of reality. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Charlie, thanks for calling in today to New Life Live. We're going to take a quick break, and then Carter, you will be up next here on New Life Live from Fort Hood, Texas.
My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
I went to the Restore conference, which seems to be the missing puzzle piece where I was able to find my voice.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we are not stuck because someone else made a decision. God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, March 6th to the 8th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
I'm navigating my world now. It feels so wonderful.
I've had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go to Fort Hood, Texas, and talk to Carter, who is listening on newlife.com. Hi there, Carter. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Good afternoon.
How are you? What prompted you to call us today?
Well, what prompted was a prayer last night that said, if you tell me to call, I will. I was listening to a religious program, and I got a text this afternoon that says, between 1 and 3, are you anxious or in need of help? And so I was like, okay, got it. Understood. I'm calling.
I love how God works.
Thanks, God. Check.
Yeah. Also, if you ever need in and out, I heard you all talking about it. Come to Central Texas. You'll find a few locations here and towards San Antonio and Austin.
There you go. That way JJ doesn't have to come out to California. I mean, not that we don't want him to come out to California, of course.
Yeah. A lot of great stuff from California comes here, I've noticed.
Yes. That's great.
But I'm definitely calling because I'm a man who is like been dealing with lust most of my life. And that's what I'm dealing with. And unlike Mr. Charles, who you were speaking to, pornography is definitely what is tearing my family apart.
Your family. Tell us about your family.
Yeah. A wife of 11 years, a daughter 8 years old, and just by the grace of God, I'm still with her and don't have the term ex-wife from my lips yet. And we've already gone through some hard times, but it's still the biggest struggle. 2025 is the year I quit alcohol, February 16th, 2025. And that was thanks to my wife, too. And she said, what good does it do for you? I said, nothing. I can't think of anything. So I promised her right there, and I haven't drank alcohol since. So that was easy. This is not easy. That was probably the easiest thing ever in comparison. So that's where I'm just wanting to know, because as I look at my life, I'm like, my goodness, the secondary and tertiary effects of this and what it does.
Yeah.
The amount of time. I mean, it's grotesque when you think about it.
Yeah. JJ, what would you say to Carter?
Yeah, I mean, and it is, and we feel that way, and yet that pit in our stomach, that sick feeling, isn't enough to keep us away long term from that addiction. And you're absolutely right. It is much harder to get rid of an addiction to porn or some sexual sin than most of the other addictions, other than overeating. Food addiction and porn addiction are very similar in this way because two reasons. One, it's something that we were made for. We were made to eat. God designed us to eat. And so I have to learn to live in a healthy relationship with food. I can't just eliminate food. I can eliminate alcohol. I don't need to drink. I can survive just fine without alcohol. But I was made to eat. And so I have to have a healthy relationship with food. And I was made for sex. I was designed for sex. Now, I don't have a need for sex in the same way that I have a need for food, but I was designed for sex. And so what it means is I have to learn to have a healthy relationship with sex, not just eliminate sex from my life, because I am a sexual being. So the first thing I would ask is, Carter, have you ever considered going to the Every Man's Battle Intensive?
I have, but being a man who's constantly hard to get away from the work as well as the price, those two things right there, oddly enough, are what make it very difficult. I mean, that's probably with anyone. But yeah, I've definitely considered it. Even if I have to do something, I might see how much it costs to do it. What is it called? Online or whatever.
The online, that is an option.
We have scholarships too.
I was just about to say you want to ask, because we do have scholarships available, because we don't ever want to let cost be the deciding factor of someone not coming. Okay, so call or stay on the line, and we can put you in touch with a person to talk about scholarships for the upcoming workshops. The other thing I want you to consider, Carter, is what's the cost to not attending? Like you've been focused on the cost of attending and whether or not I can make it work with the budget, whether or not I can take off enough time from work, all of that. But have you really considered the cost of not going? Because right now, you've said over the years, this has repeatedly deteriorated your marriage, your relationship with your wife. And by the way, you don't maybe aren't aware of the impact yet, but it's also impacting your relationship with your daughter. And it will continue to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, man, I know there's a cost, but there's a bigger cost in not going and not taking this seriously, because it doesn't just go away. We can't just will it away. We can't just go, okay, I'm just not gonna lust anymore. I'm just not gonna look at porn anymore. We've tried that over and over, and we know how ineffective that is. When you go to the Every Man's Battle Intensive, not only are you going to learn some great information, if I do say so myself, you're going to learn some great information, but what you're really going to benefit from is connecting with other men who understand what you're going through, connecting with other men who are in the similar place. We don't all have the same story of what landed us there, but there's similar themes in all of our stories. And to have a place where I can go and finally be real, finally be open. For most of us, this is not something that we feel comfortable sharing in our small group from church. This isn't something that we feel comfortable sharing with the pastor of the church, but it's something that we need to learn to do. We need to learn to be that open and honest, because that's where freedom lies.
Hey, Carter, how is this?
Another reason go ahead.
I was just going to say, how do you feel that this is affecting your relationship with your daughter?
Oh, because imagine any time that any time is spent in sin is time that I wasn't spending with God, is time that I wasn't spending with my daughter, is time that I wasn't spent working out. So there's the secondary and tertiary effects of, if whatever you give your life to, you're taken away from something else. It's impossible not to. So that's where I see it happening.
Yeah.
And God forbid if, it would ever end up in divorce because my wife doesn't feel loved, then I'm taken away from my daughter in that fashion.
Yeah. Becky?
Well, the thing I'm thinking too, Carter, is I'm applauding the fact that you quit using alcohol. But guess what happens? The porn will increase because it's a coping mechanism. And people don't understand that connection. Alcohol is a coping mechanism. These are solutions that we find for the wounds that we carry internally that we don't heal. And we know that healing occurs in relationships. And so I love that God spoke to you loudly through prayer and then followed up with a text message just to you. And the reason why I was chuckling when JJ said there was a good presenter is because JJ's the presenter, in case you didn't know that. But I would love for you to take a step in that direction. And if nothing else, Carter, we're going to be in Dallas. We'll be back because we always go to Texas for Every Man's Battle. If you don't do the one in February that's in California, I would love for you to be in person with the other men that are at Every Man's Battle.
Yeah.
And you can start by starting with the Every Man's Battle podcast, season 1. Start with episode number 1. Start listening, and you'll get a taste of what we offer. But don't quit leaning into what God is already showing you.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to hear how God's going to work in your life.
That's right. So the next Every Man's Battle workshop, like Becky said, is in it's in January. I'm sorry.
January.
Intimacy and Marriage is in February. Every Man's Battle, the weekend of January 23rd in Orange County, California. And we've got another one coming up later on as well. You can go to newlife.com to find that out. But like JJ said, we don't want finances to keep you from the help and healing you need. So call us today, and Carter, stay on the phone, and we'll talk about these need-based scholarships that we have available to our intensives. Well, God bless you guys. Thanks so much for joining us today, either on the radio or on a podcast or Facebook or YouTube. We'll be here again tomorrow. Can't wait to talk to you then, especially if you couldn't get through today. Call us tomorrow. For JJ West and Becky Brown, I'm Brian Perez. God bless you guys. Talk to you next time on New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.